The agony of the atrocity was brought home today by the revelation as just who died in this attack as Robert Bauer's fusillade of bullets hit these worshippers. Amongst them, a husband and wife in their 80s, a brother and sister in their 50s, a woman of 97. Bowers himself is in hospital tonight under police guard, facing 29 charges, some of which carry the death penalty. The attack is being treated by police here as a hate crime. This is a community in shock, but in close solidarity with each other. We've been looking at what happened and at the wider causes of this hateful act in a climate of increasing hatred and violence in America. An apparently lone gunman armed with handguns and automatic rifle. This was more than hate. This was accompanied by a notorious call to kill all Jews. This was an act of terror.
Suspect say his name is Robert Bowers. Rob Bowers. He says he's carrying an AR-15 and a Glock at this time.
Among the dead, 97-year-old Rose Mallinger, Melvin Wax, aged 88, Sylvan Simon, 86, and Bernice Simon, 84. The average age of the 11 killed in the synagogue in the 20-minute rampage was 76. It has been described as one of the deadliest attacks on the Jewish community in U.S. history. Bowers has been charged with 29 criminal counts, all of which carry the death penalty. He is currently in hospital and his condition is described as fair. All the city's authorities this morning gathered to give an update and take questions. Mr. Mayor, in learning a lesson from this appalling tragedy, is it not time for the political classes to get together and talk about getting the gun out of American society?
I think the approach that we need to be looking at is how we take the guns, which is the common denominator of every mass shooting in America, out of the hands of those that are looking to express hatred through murder.
Speaking at a campaign rally in Illinois last night, President Donald Trump called for the death penalty, hours after telling reporters that gun control had nothing to do with it and that the synagogue should have been better protected.
We must stand with our Jewish brothers and sisters to defeat anti-Semitism and vanquish the forces of hate. That's what it is. And when you have crimes like this, whether it's this one or another one on another group, we have to bring back the death penalty. They have to pay the ultimate price.
This attack was shocking, but not surprising, to those in the American Jewish community who have felt increasingly under threat, abused online and harassed in their day-to-day lives. The Anti-Defamation League measured a 57% rise in anti-Semitic incidents in 2017 compared to 2016. The social media app Gab, which bills itself as the home of free speech, is under fire tonight after posts from Robert Bowers' account emerged. In one, posted just hours before he opened fire in the synagogue, he accused a Jewish charity of bringing in invaders to kill our people, warning cryptically, "I'm going in." Those invaders, migrants whom he claimed the Jewish community were helping to cross the US border. The company has since taken his account offline, disavowed all acts of terrorism, and said it is cooperating with law enforcement. But today, Channel 4 News has seen a number of anti-Semitic comments circulating on the site's home feed, including the hashtag #HeroRobertBowers. When we put this to Gab, they told us,
"Censorship and pushing people into the shadows will never be the answer. It will only drive them to more violence. Hate speech of all types is protected by the First Amendment, as ruled unanimously by the Supreme Court. Twitter and other platforms police hate speech as long as it isn't against President Trump, white people, Christians or minorities who have walked away from the democratic leftist parties around the world. This double standard does not exist on Gab."
They also said police would not have evidence of a motive without Gab, and that they were
proud to work with and support law enforcement in order to bring justice to this alleged terrorist.
This morning, the quiet district of Squirrel Hill, home to Pittsburgh's largest Jewish community, struggled to come to terms with what had happened.
This is a time of mourning. 11 people passed away, so it's...
It's
thought
devastating.
it was terrible,
it's
yeah.
horrible.
Yeah. Our daughter works in a Sunday school just a few blocks away from here, and first thought was, what if it was the next day?
It's very clear that the rhetoric in this country has been overheated for a while, for a long time.
Coupled with what mystifies us in Europe, the gun.
Yeah.
The gun.
Amid the media scrum outside the synagogue, 2 small children came forward with biscuits for the police officers and little notes of gratitude.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, now, I'm joined by Rabbi Chuck Diamond. He's the former, well, you were in charge of the Tree of Life Synagogue before, and now by Pittsburgh City Councilman Corey O'Connor. Rabbi, you, by definition, will have known these people because they were all in their 60s, 70s, and 80s. They must have been here when you were here.
Some of them were here all their lives. I knew 9 of the 11 really well. And there were 3 congregations which were housed in the building, and I think each one suffered some losses.
I mean, it's absolutely appalling to think that the ages of the people that we've now learnt died range from 54 to 97.
Right. It's, this synagogue just started at 9:45.
Yeah.
So they're the early birds and the elderly. And I think that explains it. They're the ones who come early. They get us started. They'll be there 9:45 every single week, rain or shine or snow. The woman, Rose, who was 97 years old, just every week, so special. Such a joy as a rabbi to have her as a congregant.
Sounds like a big stimulus to staying alive.
Yeah. But she I have to tell you, she was active, and I used to see her going shopping and walking, and she had a delightful sense of humor, and we used to kid her. The president and I, the former president and I, used to kid her back and forth. There was another woman named Ray who wasn't there, luckily, this past week. I used to say Ray and Rose were my R&R for the week. So,
Councilman, you have this Jewish community in your district. Tell me, what part do they play in your community?
It's huge. We've had generations of Jewish residents in Squirrel Hill. From where we're standing right now, you can identify 5 to 10 other synagogues. My mother's side of my family is Orthodox. They live right down at the corner. So it's a big part of this community.
You are yourself Jewish. And
I have a different background. Yeah, I have Catholic Jewish. So we grew up in a very diverse neighborhood, and I grew up in a very diverse household. And Squirrel Hill is a melting pot for different religions, ethnicities, races, and that's what you get here. And you're going to see that over the next couple of weeks, people from all different backgrounds coming together.
Rabbi O'Connor, I thought that was a Jewish name.
It is. My mom's Jewish.
But Rabbi, the Anti-Defamation League have published figures which suggest there's been a 57% increase in anti-Jewish hatred since, that was during the year 2016-17. Are you conscious of this?
I'm conscious of this as far as the country goes. In Pittsburgh, I don't know if you'd agree, we don't feel that as much. No. And so, but there's clearly more hatred in this country. Some people have to speak out a little bit stronger against white supremacism and groups that perpetuate hate. And so, yes, it exists in the country, but here in Pittsburgh, we're fairly fortunate, although I'm sure it exists here too.
One of the things which has struck me is how little people talk about guns. I asked the mayor about it this morning. He didn't really want to talk about guns. But surely guns are at the root of this. We have hatred in Britain, but when it comes down to it, they don't have any access to any guns.
Yeah, it's a problem. It was a problem 15 years ago. It was a problem 5. It was a problem 2 weeks ago. And then when it hits you home in a city like Pittsburgh, it really hurts. And it's now time for us as leaders of this community to take a stand. Not sure what that legislation would be, because we need help from the federal and state levels. If they don't step up, cities like ourselves, we're going to have to do it ourselves. And Pittsburgh's not going to back down. I know other cities across this country won't back down from it either.
Right. I have nobody has given me a reason why people need to own assault rifles or bump stocks. And I think there's a middle ground. I think people have a right to perhaps go hunting and own a gun, but I see no reason for weapons that are just meant to kill people.
The problem really in the end is money. There is so much money in the National Rifle Association and the rest of it that politicians daren't confront them.
And I believe that a lot of people in the NRA themselves would be in favor of some of these reforms. I really do. Nobody wants to see something like this happen, or what happened in Sandy Hook or in Parkland or in Las Vegas. Nobody wants to see that. And so, but as you said, I think some politicians need to grow some, as we say.
Well, Rabbi Diamond and indeed City Councilman Corey O'Connor, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.